Welcome to the Limitless Entrepreneur Podcast, your weekly dose of strategies and mindset tools to build a business in alignment with your purpose and to get you playing a bigger game. I'm your host, Nicole Leno. Hello, and welcome to the Limitless Entrepreneur Podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Nicole Leno. We are here with one of our little shorty episodes on a Monday morning. I'm excited to deliver this to you. We're going to talk today about deconditioning. This is such a key factor in human design. This is the part that that everybody sort of glosses over. We talk about it. We talk about it really high level. We don't really get into it. And today we're going to talk about specifically about deconditioning by type. And I'm going to give you a key question for each human design type that will help you start to unravel the conditioning around just that bigger category of your type. And I'm going to give you 5 types. I'm not going to lump generators and manifesting generators into one, but manifesting generators, you could also ask yourself the question that you asked, that I'm asking the generators as well. So I'm going to run through this and I'll give some color behind each one, but I'm going to give you one question for each one. We try to keep these episodes super short, so I will make this very succinct for you. So we're going to jump right into it. Generators, the question for you is, where were you told that you couldn't be successful doing what you loved? This is a key conditioning element for generators and just the sacral family. We're meant to be lit up, but where we start going on the path of the not self is thinking that we have to do things because we should. We have to do things because they make sense. And the truth is that your sacral is going to, the best places that your sacral is going to lead you to are not going to make sense. And that's where the magic is. So a big conditioning element is that we were told that you can't be successful doing what you love. So we think we have to do what makes sense. And then we stop listening and we start reasoning. And that's the big wrong turn on the path of life. So generators, where were you told you couldn't be successful doing what you loved? And Mani-Gens, you can ask yourself that question as well, because it applies to both. Manifesting generators. Mani-Gens, where were you shamed for being multi-passionate or labeled flaky? Where were you shamed for being multi-passionate, or where were you labeled flaky? Now, this is really like this. Think about how this comes up, right? You never stick to anything. Why are you always going from one thing to the other? Oh, there she goes again, off on another wild goose chase, on another pipe dream, another thing she's doing. That can be, there's a lot of shame that can come behind it, because the subtext of that is like, there's something wrong with you. She's weird. Oh, there she goes again, being weird, being unreliable, being flaky. And while we can shrug that stuff off, I want you to pay attention to, does that hurt? Are you triggered by it now? If someone were to call you that, and by triggered, I mean, how do you react when you're triggered? Well, we can get really defensive. We can start, we can get pissed off. We can blame the other. We can get judgmental about the other person that's calling us that, or that said that about us. Or we could change our behavior to conform to what they're saying, to be more liked by them, or to be what is more desirable that through the parameters that other people have laid out. What would make me more desirable to these people? So where are you triggered by that? Or have you started to live your life where you've accepted that you're flaky? I'm just flaky. I'm just this. I'm just that. I can remember being called that. I can certainly remember that, because I didn't want to do one thing. And that was correct for me. And when we start getting pulled off our track by listening and acting on that criticism, that might not always come like in the form of like outward criticism. People do it like joking, and they might say that they mean that lovingly, but we don't necessarily take it that way because it hurts, because they're telling us the truth that we don't stick to things, that we're often doing lots of different things. What they're doing is they're saying that that's wrong, that's not okay, or it would be better if you would stick to things, if you would just do one thing. And that's not where our magic lies.
That's not how we access it. And so where have you been pulled down that path, maybe of conforming, of trying to be liked by everybody, of trying to do it their way, of trying to be accepted? We're not meant to do that. We're meant to do what feels good to us. And what feels good to us is doing like 6 different things at once. There is a way to do that in a way that doesn't feel insane, because I've been on both sides of that. I've been very clear and grounded in my multi-passionateness, and I have been manic in my multi-passionateness. And we don't want to be in the manic state. And that comes from the deconditioning journey. And that comes from a lot of the healing work that goes on, that goes on. Certainly in my Limitless Entrepreneur program, that's a big focus of what we do. And that's kind of the foundation of what we do. We're always looking for that stuff. But it's also just living by design and feeling really empowered in it. And then suddenly you get very clear. Things get, the chaos just sort of goes away and you just feel grounded and you feel really rooted in yourself. I'm going to take a pause here, and I'm also going to let you know that we do have a deconditioning guide that we just released. So we're giving you the questions by type, but I'm going to give you, in our guide, we go through the themes of each of the centers. So we're talking about type in this episode. In the guide, we go through it by center, and we go through it in how you can look at your particular design. You can look at your chart and you can follow the guide and see where those voices come up. We have some cool questions for you. So just to get you started, it's a free guide. If you go to NicoleLano.me/decondition, and it's just DE and then condition, like you would spell condition, all one word, NicoleLano.me/decondition, and you can download that guide. Okay. Now manifestors, you're next. Our manifestors. The question for you is, where were you told to follow the pack, or that blazing your own trail or doing it your way was inconsiderate, not okay, was just wrong? Where are you punished for it? Where was your pioneering spirit maybe crushed, or you made to feel like you were a problem because you were running rogue a lot? And for you, this is where you start to squash your magic, because you're not going to hear or respect the downloads that you get, the urges that you get to move on, which is where you create magic for everybody else. Because that's what human design is. When you're doing what's in alignment for you, you are, the ripple effect is that you're creating opportunity for everybody else around you to be who they are. And if they're operating correctly, then there's opportunity created for everybody by us living correctly. So for manifestors, you're not only hurting yourself, you're hurting the others around you, because you're not initiating on the things that are correct, that could initiate other people around you. Right? So you're not creating those opportunities. You're not casting the vision for others to attach to, who need something to attach to, because we don't initiate on our own. So where were you told that following the pack was better? That maybe you should just do it like everybody else? Why do you have to be so difficult? Why do you have to be so headstrong? Why do you always have to go your own way? And you can go back to childhood. You're kind of just taking the lens. You're just taking this question and you're looking back through your life and saying, like, where did this happen? And this is something you take out your notebook and journal on some of these things. You probably have lots of instances where these came up, and then you can dig into how they make you feel. Projectors, where were you shamed for being lazy? This is a big one. And I am guilty of doing this to my husband. My husband is a no motor center projector, and he's a self-projected projector. He has no motors defined in his body graph. And I'm a manifesting generator. I move fast. And that poor guy, I called him lazy. I called him, like, I believe the word useless came up several times. I'd be like, do you realize I've had like a whole day before you even get up in the morning? Now I respect that this is our process. It doesn't mean he doesn't have to do anything around the house, but I am far more compassionate to his need for rest, and that he functions very highly. Like, he's really good at what he does. And he's only great when he's fully rested, when he's created enough space. So he never cared what I said. He was like, I'm good, I'm resting. But where were you shamed for being lazy is the question for you. Reflectors, where were you told to define who you are? Where were you told that you needed to know who you were? Where were you told to like get it together and have a plan and know where you were going and know who you were? And for reflectors, that's probably felt really like a lot of pressure, because it literally could feel like, I don't know, but I obviously should know. I better figure that out. And that's the spiral for reflectors. This is just like that feeling of like, well, if I do this, then will I be enough? If I do this, then if I go here, if I make this happen, or if I know this about myself, if I just know my purpose, if I just know this, and it can be all consuming. So that's the question for reflectors. Where were you told to define who you were? And how did that make you feel? So, like I said, we have a free deconditioning guide for you guys at nicolelaino.me/decondition. If you want to dive deeper into your deconditioning journey, which is definitely, this will get you started. This guide will take you, there's so much. I mean, we go through, I have a whole like separate program piece of the Limitless Entrepreneur where we go into deconditioning. And that is just this ongoing deep process. So there's no way that I could put it in one guide, but I wanted to get you started. I wanted to give you something to think about. And this is more about not the deep deconditioning, but this guide will get you started in like, how can you start to notice the ways that you're being pulled off course now? And you can do that by your centers, and you can start to look at it based on your chart. You can look at the guide that we give you, and you can see where your tendencies are. And you can start working on those things right away. And you'll start to see shifts right there. If you're following strategy and authority and you start digging into this, you will start to see real change. So I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that you download the guide, because it's super cool. I really like it. I think it's a great tool. And if you're just getting started with human design, that's a really nice piece for you to pick up. If you're looking to dive deeper into human design, or if you know that you want to decondition, if you want to start to understand your human design chart, and you want to know like what makes you tick and how you can start working with your design, you want someone to walk you through that. I do human design readings. You can go to my website, nicolaino.me, and you can go to the work with me section, and you can see how you can book a human design reading. You can also, there's the Limitless Entrepreneur Program, which is my group coaching program. If you're ready to go on a human design journey, and you're ready to build your business by human design, and you're ready to understand what your purpose is, your strengths, and understanding how you can start to create a life and business around who you uniquely are, your way, not the ways that somebody else told you that actually could be conditioning you, where we work with your design, then the Limitless Entrepreneur, if you know that you're ready for that type of journey, the Limitless Entrepreneur is absolutely for you. So you can also find that at the Work With Me section, or you can shoot me a DM over on Instagram, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have there. If you love the show, please take a little snapshot, a little screenshot of this episode, share it in your stories, tell your friends about this show. Please, if they're into human design, or you know that they should be and you're sharing it with them, please let them know where you're getting your information from. We would love to have this audience grow and get this message out to more people. Thank you so much for being here, for being a loyal listener of the show, being part of our family. Thank you so much. And remember, you are only limited by the limitations that you accept. And when you stop accepting those limitations, that is when you become limitless. So go out there and be limitless, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode.
If you loved this episode, please leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this podcast. And if you want to stay in touch with us, we would love to have you as a part of our Facebook community, Practical Manifestors. It's a community for process-driven women looking for clear and actionable steps to embodying a life of wealth and alignment. Join us at Practical Manifestors in Facebook, or go to www.innerceogroup.com.